Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's hearing of Annandale and Eskdale Divisional Licensing Board, commencing today, Friday the 1st of July 2022 at 10:30 a.m. If I can ask you to turn to the agenda, please, and item number 1, can we please appoint the convener? Thank you. Would anyone like to nominate someone as convener, please?
I don't think we've had any prior discussions in regards to this, so if there's no willing participants, I'm happy to take it up, but subject to other members being okay with that.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGregor, did you just support that?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Councillor Carruthers, you've been appointed as convener. If you can just read out the narrative with regards to the live recording of this meeting, please. Thank you.
I'll do apologies for the picture. It's the best I can do this morning. Apologies about that. Hopefully Councillor Jimison's okay with that as well, George. We'll take that as a given, subject to you coming back in. So yeah, thanks very much for that. Thank you, George. Thanks for that vote of confidence. So, good morning, members. This meeting is being, apologies again, so if you spoke as a setup, I kind of look straight at the camera here. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed. Could I remind members to follow the good practice guide, which includes muting of microphones, switching off the video when they are not addressing the meeting. Should you wish to contribute to any item, you should write speak in the Teams chat function or raise your hand, your virtual hand that is, and you will be invited to speak in order. Should your question or it should be raised by a previous speaker, please withdraw your request so that we can deal with the business as efficiently as possible. It looks like we've got Omric in the background. Omric, if you heard that, ideally you're okay just to switch your camera off, Omric, until we'll bring you in. There's a few items to go yet. We'll bring you in at that point, Omric. You can hear me okay. I'll let you deal with that. So, item number 2 on the agenda is setting apologies, giving the approval of the members of remote participation. I do approve of the members of remote participation. So it's setting apologies. Caroline, I think it's to you for this.
Thanks, convener. Apologies from Councillors Drybra and Councillors Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Any members got any declarations of interest? That's particular to Councillor McGregor and Jimison.
No, not from me.
Okay, that's excellent. I'm looking at the item number 4, Caroline, minutes of the meeting 9th of March. It looks like we'll have to delay them, I think. Is that correct?
Yes, convener, correct. Only Councillors Drybra and Thompson were present at that March hearing, convener, and of course they're not with us today, so we'll just carry this one forward, if that's okay. Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, Caroline. So the next few items are fairly quick. I'll try and keep to the similar format as which our previous convener. I suppose I should really say thanks to Archie, Councillor Driver, that is, for the last 5 years, take care of business. Thanks very much, Archie. I think I'd say that on behalf of the whole board. So item number, apologies again, I haven't fully set up for this. It's item number 5, I think we're on. That's Licensing Scotland Act 2005, and it's application for occasional licence and extended hours. So that's pages 15 and 16. Any members we've been asked to note them in real terms. So, Caroline, unless you've got anything you'd look to add to that?
No, convener, just for noting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. If I don't hear anything from members, I will move on to item number 6, and we've noted them. There was a couple of small typos in relation to addresses, but I'll come back to them out with the meeting just to get them factually corrected. So item number 6 is a Licensing Scotland Act 2005. It's an application for minor variations granted on a delegated authority report by yourself, Caroline, the clerk, to the board. And again, Caroline, unless you've got anything that you'd like to make us aware of that we haven't seen it within the papers.
No, convener, just for noting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Again, it must be odd looking at her. From what I can see from the surface, seen as a dark shadow. I do apologise for that. I can't change the lighting in any other way. So, if Councillor McGregor and Jimison are okay, they've got nothing in particular to raise, I will move on to item number 7. Give me a wee second just to do that. And Caroline, if you don't mind, because I'm just working off the phone today, I'll make sure that's addressed for the next meeting of the licensing board. If anybody raises a hand, puts speak in the chat function or something like that, could you raise that to me, please, if that's okay?
Yes, of course.
So, thank you. Thanks very much.
Sorry, Ian, convener.
Gail, yep.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to put my hand up and then you said don't put your hand up just now. I think Lynn Davis is with us as well. She's not on the front sheet of the agenda, but I'm suspecting she's the fifth one. She's the fifth board vacancy. That was a vacancy.
Sorry, convener. Can I just ask Cheryl, our senior licensing officer here, just to step in? Perhaps, Cheryl, have you got any comments here? My understanding is that Councillor Davis is not a member of the board.
It's my understanding that Councillor Davis joined first and then resigned.
Councillor Davis, can you hear us?
Oh, that's fine. Yes, that's correct. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just getting the meetings mixed up. I'll just leave the call now. Okay.
Okay. What I will say is because
That's
it is
fine.
a pub. Okay.
Yeah.
Convener, because it's a public meeting, you know, okay, Councillor Davis isn't even
okay,
angry,
that's
but it is
fine.
a public
Bye.
meeting.
Yeah, bye.
Excellent. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for that. Thanks, Caroline. So I think that's been clarified, and so the accuracy of the front page is accurate in simple terms. I think
yes.
movement item. Aye, right. Okay. Is that item number 7? Sorry, I'm losing my track. I think
Item number 7.
Application for transfer. Yeah. So it's application for transfer premises licence granted under delegated authority as well. These are for noting. Karen, have you got anything you'd like to make us aware of?
No, convener, just for noting. Thank you.
Councillors McGregor and Jimmerson, are you content with this?
Yes, fine by me.
Excellent, thank you. Thanks, George. Take that as a yes, Gail, thank you. So Licence Scotland Act, item number 8, surrender of premise licence, which is a report, which starts on page 25. Again, Carolyn, just to yourself, I think that's a straightforward.
Correct, convener, just for noting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right then, we're getting to the meat of the business now, which is item number 9, which is a licence in Scotland application for various premise licences. This is where you come in, Omric, but I'll guide you in at the right time. It's Atwell Convenience Store, 69 Springwells Road, Annan. So, Carolyn, I wonder if you just want to go over the process first.
Yes,
what we'll
of
look
course.
to do, then I'll do it to the best of my ability.
Yes, of course, convener. So members, this is an application for a major variation in respect of Atwell Convenience Store at 69 Springbells Road, Annan. The premises licence holder is J&A Stores. I believe we have Mr. Omric Atwell attending on behalf of J&A Stores, and we have written confirmation that he may represent the premises licence holder. Just from the outset, Mr. Atwell, can I just confirm that you can actually hear me okay? You're on mute. Mr. Atwell, you're on mute. Do you want to take your mute off just so I can hear you? Can you hear me okay, Mr. Atwell? I can see that he's speaking, though we can't. I'll just proceed with the reports. Convener. So it's an application for a major variation which is detailed at Appendix 1 to this report. I can confirm the application was sent to our usual statutory consultees detailed at paragraph 2 of the report. In terms of the law, the site notice was conveniently displayed for a full 21-day period, and we have received signed confirmation of site notice. The application was also advertised on the board's webpage. In terms of objections and representations, I can confirm that none have been received. At Appendix 2 to the report, we have the LSO report confirming no adverse comments, and the police have no adverse comments. So in terms of procedure, convener, I would suggest that you just hear that confirmation from the police, followed by any questions from yourselves, if there are any, with the LSO speaking to his report and with any questions from yourselves, and then allow Mr. Omric Atwell to speak to his application with questions from yourselves, and then I would suggest you go into session, if that's acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So just before you come in, Omric, I'll just double check. So what we're saying is we'll allow the police, to speak. I don't know if the police are on. I don't see them. just so we can get that clarified as well. Then we'll look at our LSO, then members is what we're saying. I think you said, Carolyn, and then we'll go to Omric to speak to his particular application after that, and then be back to members and the authorities. But just so we're clear, do we have the police authority? And
We do have Sergeant McKee, I believe. Yes, yeah. Indeed.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. So I'll come to you first then, Sergeant McKee, did you say? I can't
yes.
see it on the...
There's no adverse comments or objections from the police.
Right, okay, thanks very much for that, Sergeant McKee. So is it Mickey Collins on the line for the LSO? Sorry, I just can't see it on the screen.
Sorry, convener, I'm filling in for Mickey today. He's actually on annual leave.
Excellent. Have you anything you want to add to what you?
Thank you, convener. No, nothing further to. Thank you, convener. No, nothing further to add.
Thank you. Thanks very much. So I'll move it to members next. Then, members, have you got any particular questions around about the report that's been written? Any questions that have come up before we go to Omric himself?
Just a query regarding underage drinking. I'd just like to hear a wee comment on how you would, how we can be assured that it would make it easier for underage people to access alcohol. I presume you'll have a policy in place. It's just to clarify that.
Excellent. We'll come to that when Omric comes in then. Yeah. Just give us a wee second, Omric, please, if that's okay. Okay. I take your silent scale as being no questions. So yes. Omric, it's over to you. Sorry, Gail. Sorry. Excellent. Thanks for that. Okay. Omric, over to you. So you got your first question straight away from Councillor
The policy we've got in place is we're in with a firm called Snappy Shopper. It's all computerised. When the delivery gets received at the store, it's allocated to a driver. As soon as that driver leaves the shop, it lets the customer know that the delivery is on its way. When the two first questions would be, when they arrived at the house, you'd say yes. Just say Jimmy. Is Jimmy over 25? It's either yes or a no. So if Jimmy puts the order in and someone else is there to collect it, its transaction will be declined. And for example, if Jimmy doesn't look 25, then there's other policies in that computer system that tasks them for ID. If the correct ID is not there, the whole thing is cancelled. Is that okay?
Thanks, George.
No, thank you. That's grand. No, I just wanted to cover that, publicly, because I was quite sure he would have. So it's good that you've made those comments. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. Omric, is there anything else that you want to tell us about your operations and what's going on? This is your chance. You don't have to, but it's up to yourself. Give you the opportunity. Anything you want to speak to your actual application?
To be honest, if it was granted, it would help business a lot through COVID-19. I think people's rather stay at home, stay safe. Everything's computerised. From leaving the store and bringing back, there's a backup record for about, I think, stays for a year. So if you come in and say, listen, this transaction happened last week, we could easily follow that up. Who delivered it, when it was delivered, who accepted it, and what they ordered. So everything you say is computerised. Obviously, if it's granted, we'd take more staff on. I think that's what's needed really in Annan. And things have changed since COVID-19, and people's watching what they're spending and everything going up.
Thanks, Omric. Any members, I'll just ask members first. Any members got any other points they wish to raise or questions or anything like that?
No, not from me.
No, I'm happy.
Yeah. Excellent. So it does say it's clearly defined within the report that, correct me if I'm wrong, Carolyn, it's the clerk to the board that if there's no reasons for refusal, it should be approved. I would move that there is no reasons for refusal and it should be approved. Is anyone otherwise minded? I'll keep me correct here, Carolyn, just in case I'm stepping out of kilter, but I think that's correct. But I don't see the police.
That's correct, convener.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Chair, I'm content with that.
Thank you, George. Gail, taken. Yes, take you as a yes, Gail. Excellent. So Omric, that's you. It's been granted. You'll get your licence through in time. So thanks very much for turning up today and giving us your time as well. So
okay.
See you again at some point in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, that's it. You log off if you want. Cheers. Thank you very much, Omric. Cheers. So excellent. So that was item number 9. Item number 10. So it's a Scotland application for the variation of premise licences to Lonsdale Cinema, Annan. So Carolyn, if you don't mind keeping right in regards to who's here, it looks like it's a Mr. Alan Towers.
Correct, convener.
represented.
Can I just check first of all that Mr. Towers, you can hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly, that's fine.
Thank you. So, members, this is an application for a major variation in respect of Lonsdale Cinema at Lady Street in Annan. The premises licence holder is RJ Towers and Partners, and Mr. Alan Towers, who's with us today via telephone, is a partner. The application itself is detailed at Appendix 1. And I can confirm that we've consulted with the usual statutory consultees. The notice has been advertised on the board's webpage Monday the 16th of May to Tuesday the 7th of June 2022. The site notice has been displayed at the premises for the full 21-day period, and we have received satisfactory signed confirmation of site notice. I can confirm that there are no objections or representations in relation to this application. The LSO report is detailed at Appendix 2, and the Police Scotland, I can confirm, have advised no adverse comments. I just first like to apologise, convener, for the many typos that are in this hard copy paper. I don't know if any of you have noticed there are many errors. I can confirm that these are not from our licensing team. Something has gone askew with our print unit. So the actual report was sent through correctly, error-free, and for some reason it's come out with our print unit riddled with lots of typos and errors, which sometimes makes it a wee bit difficult reading. Cheryl, our senior licensing officer, is taking that up with our print unit. So apologies if you do see these errors. Please be aware that I have fully picked them up, but they've not come from our team. So that was just putting that to the side. In terms of suggested procedure, convener, I suggest just here for the confirmation from the police, any questions, hear from the LSO. We've got Mary Irvin on behalf of Mickey Collins today, any questions, and then allow Mr. Towers to speak to his application with any questions from yourselves. Give Mr. Towers thereafter a chance to sum up and then go into session if you're happy with that. Thank you.
I'm happy with that. So it's the same as last time, members, same procedure. So I'll go to the police first. Sergeant McGee.
Thank you. There's no adverse comments or concerns from the police.
Thank you. Thanks very much. We'll go to our LSO, Mary.
Thank you, convener. Yes, no further comments.
Thank you. So as per the appendix. Gail, your mic's on, I think. If you want to come in. Gail, if you can hear me, I think your mic's on. So now it's to, I think it's members. If members got any particular questions, then we'll go to Mr. Towers after that.
Yeah, a similar question to the last one. The applications for extending hours. I'm just interested to hear a policy on how we protect the children and young persons from harm in terms of underage drinking. I'm sure you'll have a policy. I just wanted it to be noted and give you the opportunity to explain what steps you'd be taking.
Thanks so much, George. That was Mr. Towers. Yep. What about you?
Okay, yes, I'm Alan Towers. I'm the partner responsible for the cinema. Yeah, obviously being a cinema, we do get a lot of families in, we get a lot of children in as well. The policy that we have is that on our computerised till, the sale of alcohol cannot be made by an underage member of staff. We do have one or two 16, 17 year olds, but they are not allowed to sell alcohol. Obviously, they have to find somebody over 18, one of their premises licence holder or the manager, and also that's on the till. There is a challenge 25. We cannot sell any alcohol to anybody without it being flagged up on the till that you have to confirm with the customer, or if they are obviously over 25.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, Alan.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, George. Thanks. Mr. Towers, and if it is your opportunity, if you want to add anything or say anything in regards to your application, it's up to you. You can do that now, or you don't have to. It's up to yourself.
It was just a brief explanation why I'm here so quickly again after the last meeting. We did have a licence in the new Scream 3 that I created about 18 months ago, which has a separate entrance to the other two cinemas. We did apply for a licence, and it was granted on March the 9th this year. For the application, the solicitor we used unfortunately seemed to misunderstand our normal opening hours. We had previously been operating longer hours under temporary licences. I did point this out to the solicitor when the application was lodged, but he advised leaving the restricted hours as they were and then correcting them and reapplying at a later date, which is why I'm here 3 months later wanting to change these. The current shorter hours that we're operating on actually only covers about 60% of our normal weekly shows, and it has so far caused a bit of confusion with customers when somebody come to see Downton Abbey at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, couldn't buy any glasses of wine, but they could at 5 o'clock. So this is the confusion that occurs. So this application is really just to cover our normal cinema weekly opening times and shows. So thank you for your time in considering this.
Thank you. Thanks very much for that explanation. So, members, I'll open it to yourselves again. I haven't personally got any questions in regards to this one. I was reassured by the history of with its occasional licences and just more recently we have a permanent licence. So,
yeah, it's similar. I can concur. Yeah, as well. It's got a good reputation. It's been tried and tested, so I have no objections.
I have no objections either. No,
excellent.
absolutely
Thanks so much
happy.
for that. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks both very much, Mr. Towers. That's yours formally granted. Then I wish you all the success in increasing your business if that's possible.
Yeah, it's always possible. After the last few years, it's very possible to increase our business, but we are getting better.
Excellent. Brilliant. Okay, right. Thanks very much for that, Mr. Towers. That's you. Carolyn, if you could just reassure us what's the decision there, please.
Thank you, Convener. So, Mr. Towers, your application has been granted by the board today in its entirety, and you will receive your amended licence from the licensing team in early course with that written confirmation of today's decision. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours too. Thanks very much. You can leave the meeting if you wish.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11 is Licence Scotland Act 2005. It's a section 28.
Alan Towers
is now exiting.
Okay, we realise that's Alan going to take it just because he was on the dial-in. So it's the Licence Scotland Act 2005, section 28. The premises cease to be used for the sale of alcohol. It's a Brig in 5 Bridge Street, Rykirk. Report by the clerk to the board. Before you do start, I asked for other members' declarations of interest, and I noted I should have brought this up at that point, so maybe retrospectively fit that in. I was also in the planning application when this came in front of the council as planning authority, but I have had beyond that as a local council living in Breaker at the time. I've had contact, nothing to do with the licensing side. That's from the use of the building, the potential change of use from both residents in that area and the owners of this actual, not the premise license, but the owners of the building itself. So I just like that formally. We'll put that in similar into the minute. That should have been a declarable interest at that point, but I'm comfortable going forward with this, sitting within the meeting. I've declared it all the way as I go through. I haven't took an actual position either way. So I'll just take advice for you as well, Carolyn, because that's the first thing you've heard that, obviously.
Thanks, Convener. So you are declaring a late declaration of interest. You've advised it's been involvement on the planning side. So my question to you is, are you of the view that you're able to make a neutral determination with regard to this matter, taking into account all the circumstances of the case, or do you feel biased in any way as to which decision you would make? Do you feel that you're able to consider this matter neutrally?
Absolutely. Neutral is my stance in regards to this. I think it's a straightforward policy decision that will be made today in regards to this. I'll come back to another time. I do think I was at the last meeting, provided the minutes doesn't reflect that, but I'll come back to that at the next meeting as well. So no, I'm absolutely fine with that, and thanks for that question. Do you want to speak to this then, Carolyn?
Yes, of course, Convener, thank you. So members, what you're being asked today is to consider, based on all of the information before you, and there is quite a lot of information, whether these premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol. If you're of the opinion that they have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, then in law that premises licence ceases to have effect. When it is deemed to cease to have effect, it means it's void in law, it's gone, it cannot be resurrected. So if anybody was was to come along to these premises and wish them to be licensed for the sale of alcohol, they would require to apply for another licence. So when a licence in law ceases to have effect, it's gone. Just to advise members, this application did call before the board on 9th of March this year, and a decision was made to defer consideration just to allow the licensing team to send another letter just to the premises licence holder, just kind of like taking a wee bit of a cautious approach. So I can confirm that the licensing team have sent 2 further letters. If we can go through all of these appendices, what I should say as well, members, is that there are also outstanding annual fees that remain unpaid in respect to these premises. Now, payment of annual fees timiously is a condition of the licence, and breach of a condition can give rise to a review of the premises licence. With regard to the annual fees in relation to these premises, the total outstanding amount from 2019 to today, 3-year period, is £494.99. If I can just chronologically, members, just go through what has occurred with regard to these premises, you'll find that Appendix 1 to the report that the licensing team did write out to the premises licence holder's address. Now, just to confirm, the address stated in all the documentation, the firm of the Brig Inn at 5 Bridge Street. That's the only address the licensing team have on their system. So Appendix 1, a letter went out on the 11th of September 2020. A further letter, 13th of May 2021, Appendix 2. Appendix 3, another letter went out. Appendix 4, a further letter was sent out. At Appendix 5, we have the most recent letters that were sent out to the licence holder after the board's hearing in March this year. And then Appendix 6, we also have another letter that was sent out at the same address. At Appendix 7, we have Mickey Collins, our LSO, his report with helpful photographs. Now, Mickey had visited the premises in October 2021, as I understand it, and his report is detailed, as I say, members, at Appendix 7, and his view is that it was clear that the premises are closed and have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol. I can confirm that I did ask Mickey again to visit the premises a few weeks ago in June this year, and he took further photographs. Now, I know they're not at the report, I don't know if they've been forwarded to yourselves, and his position, he's confirmed his position remains unchanged. So based on all of the information before you, we've had no response whatsoever from the licence holders. We've sent numerous letters to these premises, no response. We've got photographs of the premises from October and just a few weeks ago showing these premises are clearly closed. So you're being asked to make that determination. With regard to, if you make the determination that the premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, therefore the premises licence ceases to have effect in law, yes, we will still have outstanding fees. That's unlikely that we will be able to claw these fees back. Happy to take questions. You may wish to hear from, again, of course, Mickey, our LSO, is not here, but you may wish to hear from Mary to speak to Mr Collins' report. Convener, it's just perhaps hear from Mary and then consider matters yourself. I'm here to assist, of course.
I'm wondering, Carolyn, so to just put it into context for yourself, both George and I lived in Brighton for 31 years. George lives here now. So I'm acutely aware. I was more involved. George obviously became elected in May this year, but I think George will be aware of most of the stuff that's going on there. So to put it into context, what's happened over the last few years, so when COVID came in, the previous occupants or the licence holders, so the ownership and the licence holders were 2 different parties. COVID's came in and they've actually, so the parties, the people that had, or the organisation maybe I should say, that had the licence or have the licence, one's passed on, is my understanding, and the one's moved back to Northern Ireland. I'll keep it as high level as that. They've got no intention of coming back. And the owners, I know the current owners, so ownership has changed in the last 12, 18 months. And the current owners have told me themselves directly, I've got no intention of, at this moment in time, certainly, I've got no intention at all of applying for it or having a premise licence, as in the plan application was for change of use from a licensed building to residential. So it puts in a wider context. Actually, one of the owners, or one of the directors of the company that owns it anyway, spoke at that committee. That'll be an audio recorded, so that will be there in public. So some of the information will be there, clear. So I think, personally, my view is very clear that for I could let Mary come in and speak to this, but because of the local knowledge from both George and myself, I don't know it's worth it. And like I say, been heavily involved, not at a personal level, but at a council level, to get a clear understanding what's been here. And obviously, I've lived in Brighton for nearly 31 years, so I've know quite a bit of the history in regards to the Brigham. Spent many a night in there, an afternoon for that matter. So Claire, I don't know if that adds, Carolyn, to the story. If need to bring Mary in, and maybe after your qualification, maybe bring George and then yourself here.
Yeah.
Carolyn, are you, sorry, George, go on.
It's Carolyn wanting to speak, but I'll say one sentence. It's definitely not working as a pub at the moment. It's completely abandoned, so I don't see any reason why it would need a licence. Anecdotally, we could do with a good hotel with a licence in Bridekirk, but it's certainly not there at the moment. So everything Ian says, I can concur with.
George, Gail, have you any further information, questions, anything like that in regards to this particular item? Because ultimately,
no,
make the decision. Sorry.
Not at all. I'm very aware that it's sort of been mothballed for quite some time. So yeah, there doesn't seem to be any requirement for an ongoing licence at the moment. And I'm assuming that the fees that haven't been paid are a separate issue to what we're discussing today anyway.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll just get that clarified by Caroline then. Like Caroline, just regards to that.
Yeah, so basically, if you make the determination that the premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol based on all of the information before you, and of course taking into account your local knowledge, then that premises licence ceases to have effect. Once it ceases to have effect, as I say, it's gone, it's void in law, therefore no annual fees are due thereafter. That doesn't address the outstanding annual fees that remain present, which I suspect probably will be written off. If you did not make the determination that the premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol based on all the information before you, then the premises licence would remain in effect, and the annual fees would excuse me, keep accruing, and they would just keep accruing. And my own view, convener, is that there's nothing else the licensing team can do in respect to these premises and send out any more letters to these premises with no response forthcoming. So in a way, the annual fees is a separate matter, but it is kind of linked in a wee bit. But you're being asked, if you make that determination that the premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, of course there is a knock-on in relation to the annual fees. But you're being asked to make the determination to consider the matter based on all the information before you. The LSO has gone out now to visit the premises twice. You've got that local knowledge and all these letters that have been sent to the premises, and we've never had any response.
Thanks, Caroline. So I think, go back to what George said as well. I mean, I think that there's a willingness actually and a desire for it to be a licensed premise, but with the information we've got here in front of us, I'm quite clear that we speak to the current owners as well as the wider public in the area, is that right now the decision would be to say that it's not functioning at all, and in the short term it will not function as a licensed premise. So I'm happy to move that if members are feeling the same for what he's saying. He's had actually, you've already confirmed that.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ian.
Yeah, I'm content as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Caroline, could you outline the decision, please?
Thank you, conveners. So the determination has been by yourselves unanimously today that in respect of the Brigham, the premises have indeed ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol based on all the information before you today, taking into account local knowledge as well, based on the 2 visits by the LSO, the photographs that have been submitted to yourself, the numerous letters that have been sent to the correct address in respect of the premises, and no response being received in relation to any of these letters, and also 3 years remaining outstanding in relation to annual fees. So taking into account all of that information, you've unanimously made a determination that these premises have ceased to be used for the sale of alcohol, therefore the premises licence ceases to have effect. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn. The next item of business is not going on, but further, it's date of the next meeting. I think it's telling us that, but there's no other business either. Just so no would have any other competent business potentially. But I take it there's nothing else that we're looking to consider today, Carolyn, before I move on to the next date of the next meeting.
Correct, convener. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. So the date of the next meeting we're saying is Wednesday, 28th of September, 22.
Yes, convener.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's it then, folks. Thank you very much for your time. I've been as expeditious as I could, so to speak. Not just as fast as Archie, I don't think. But anyways, we've got through the business, a number of items there. We'll come back to the minutes in September then for this, and we can address it at that point. So, well, thanks very much, and that's to everybody that's online. The police, our listening officer, yourself, Carolyn, obviously, and the members, and yourself as well, Abby. I think you're there somewhere as well. At the end of the meeting. Thanks to you all for your time today, and we will catch you at the next meeting. Thank you very much.
Thanks.